Some choose to kneel, some receive it in their hand. This past weekend at the Totus Tuus conference, you had some, what I felt were some great comments and thoughts on the church's position on that. Would you mind sharing that with us?
When the church began 2,000 years ago, there were very few Christians, and people received Holy Communion in the hand. Gradually, the church realized there were abuses. So the church introduced communion on the tongue. And that has held on for very many centuries, more than 1,000 years, in what we call the Latin Church. That's more than 90% of the Catholic Church. Nevertheless, many Orientals retain the communion in the hand for some people. But they are a minority. There are very few in the church. So what we know as Latin Church, which means most Western Europe and the United States, Africa, is on the tongue, people kneeling down. Unfortunately, about 40 years ago, some people began to rebel in some parts of Europe and said that they want communion in the hand and they don't want on the tongue. And they pressurized and pressurized until Rome finally said, okay, those who want in the hand, if the bishops of the country vote by 2/3 majority that they want communion in the hand, it can be allowed. But those who want to receive on the tongue should be left in peace and not in pieces. What happened then? Some countries, the bishops requested, they want communion in their hand. United States is one of them. Many countries requested, they want to receive in the hand. When most of the bishops request that, the Rome office okays it, on condition that those who want to receive kneeling and on the tongue are left free. Nobody can compel them to stand up and receive in the hand, not even a bishop or half a dozen cardinals. That's the general church arrangement. But you will notice those who look at the television, for the past 2 years, Pope Benedict, if you want to receive communion from him, you will kneel and receive on the tongue. If you are not ready for that, you go back where you came from. He didn't say anything, he is just doing it. And there are reasons, I can tell you, brothers and sisters. Communion in the hand has brought us many headaches in the church in the last 20 years. Here are some of the headaches. Diminution of Eucharistic reverence. Reverence for the Holy Eucharist, when people get in the hand, people are careless, nonchalant. Everybody is not St. Catherine of Siena, a big saint. Everybody is not Thomas Aquinas, a big theologian. In some parts of the world, the hosts are made with many particles. So when the particles fall, it's the body of Christ falling on the ground. They march and they go away and take the big one. That's one problem. Next problem, diminution of Eucharistic faith. Not only reverence, but faith. More and more people receiving in the hand, gradually, many people no longer believe it is the body of Christ. Not on the first day, gradually. But that's only the beginning of woes. More is to come. Somebody received Holy Communion in Rome, put it in the pocket, went home and put it in the album as a souvenir of Rome, along with photographs taken in the Colosseum and other parts of Rome. Some non-Christians, worse is to happen. Some people worship the devil. They receive the host in the hand. When you are not looking, they put it in the pocket and use it to worship the devil afterwards. Terrible. More is to come. Somebody, after receiving the host, went and received again. Put it in the pocket, came back to this country, advertised in the internet, I'm going to sell it $2,000. The priest begged him, give it to us. He said, no, you will give me $2,000 because it was consecrated by the Pope. And one priest paid him $2,000. If he had received it on the tongue, his capacity to keep it and bring it back to the United States would have been minimum. That is to say, not that receiving in the hand is unlawful. It is allowed, but know that it raises problems. Many people are careless. Some people, even only recently, somebody had glasses and they pull over and they just carelessly bring out their hand and they just throw the hose as if it were a piece of biscuit and off they go. So we do have a problem, which means that those who want to receive on the tongue, kneeling, are in the traditional way or in the Latin church, and nobody should harass them. Unfortunately, sometimes somebody harasses them.